And we are live. Thank you. Thank you. So, this is the last of the 5 events. So far, we've been streaming in 4 different time zones. We started off in Australia, where we had our Australian team and some Australian advisors. We then went on to Japan, where we had some of our other team members. And then we had a guest, which is one of our newest impact partners, which is Second Harvest Japan. They came, the CEO from that organization came on to tell us a little bit about what they do. And we also had some other advisors from there as well. I believe third, the third event was EMA. So that was Europe, Middle East, Africa. And basically we had, that was me because I'm located in Turkey right now. I'm going to bring on Carmelia. She just jumped on. One sec.
Hey, oh my gosh, let's see if this works. We have had flawless technology up until this point, but you know what happens when we have a massive team here in North America. They're all waiting patiently in the back. We have been at this since like 6 a.m. Eastern time, literally, as Michael said, starting with Australia, then Tokyo, then EMA and South America. And we are now with our North American team. We're going to be bringing up new partners. So let's get this party started. Michael is the CEO of Kindly. He's also one of the co-founders. I am head of marketing and PR and really excited to be part of this team and hosting this hour-long global day. And why we're doing it today, just so that you know, is today is the International Day of Charity. It's Tuesday, September 5th. So it's the perfect day to be thinking about giving, the perfect day to be launching the Kindly ecosystem, which allows social impact on the blockchain and so much more that we're going to cover. So let's bring up one of our team members. Oh, I don't see Dave's camera. Let's wait. Oh, here he is. We're going to bring him up. We're bringing up Dave Gray, head of development earlier we had Tomas, head of product. And Dave, I know how hard your team has worked, and I know how much sleep you're not getting you haven't gotten to get to this point. So really hats off to you. Please introduce yourself to the team and to those who are watching as we celebrate the launch of the Kindly Service and Kindly ecosystem.
Hi, everybody. Nice to meet you. Yep, I'm the CTO of Kindly. Been here since day one. A lot of time and effort and research has gone into this, and we are finally at the launch day, which is we've put quite a lot of effort into. So just happy to be a part of something really good cause. Feels good.
Amazing. Sometimes when you're working on a project, you never think that you're going to see the finish line. And we are here, we're at the finish, and really we're at the beginning of the next line because, you know, you want to celebrate your wins. But Michael, who would you like to bring up next? We've got a whole slew of people in the back end there. You're on mute.
Yeah, we could bring on Cirrus Foundation. They're one of our initial launch partners, our first primary one. So we can bring them on and see what they have to say.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to add Michael Lecou, the founder of Cirrus Foundation, and we're going to bring up Julia as well, who's the head of operations for Cirrus Foundation. So Michael, would you like to lead and share a little bit about yourself and your excitement for the project?
Yeah, certainly. Thanks for having us here. Really simply, Cirrus is about empowering people to take ownership of their digital assets. And so what does this mean? Everything online is connected to you, your data, all that value you've put out there to these centralized systems. And unfortunately, people haven't really been a part of that. They've given up this data for free. Companies have made billions of dollars off of it, and really the users receive zero. So we see a world where centralized systems have really retained all this value. Platforms have grown and people have not been equated to it. So our goal here is to unlock that value, but more importantly, help power social impact across the world because it's a frictionless system. We can really tap into the value that we own and help put that into the rest of the world to help bring people into financial access. And so it's really exciting, but I'll leave it to you because this is really about your goals here. So Thank you.
Well, thank you. Let's hear from Julia, who is also a member of your team, the head of operations at Saris Foundation. Julia, why don't you share a little bit about yourself and why you were so interested in the partnership?
Hi, everyone. Really excited to be here. Thanks for having us. It's really been a big pleasure and excitement to be a part of the Kindly journey, as well as how you guys have developed the ecosystem. So really excited to be here. And yeah, I mean, really at the core of Saris is giving value back to people. And that really goes to everything that we do, including our partnerships. And so the collaboration with Kindly is something that we're really excited about, because one aspect of what Saris is doing is, yes, we're helping people capture that value, but the other aspect is also giving people a secure way to transfer that value over and leverage that with the Web3 technology. And so with Kindly, it's really incredible because you guys are now enabling people to actually reimagine the way that people are doing social good and giving back to people in a way that they can witness that impact as well, with the power of, you know, Web3 tech, which is transparent, which is peer-to-peer, and it allows for a direct impact. So really excited, and we're excited to have Kindly integrated into our platform as well.
Oh, I think you might be on mute there, Carmelia.
Yes, I got to remember not to do that. We love that the family is growing. We love that you guys are part of it. Just so that you know, when Kindly started, we're very intentional about who we were going to partner with, the charities and the initiatives that we were going to support. The leadership had to be aligned. There had to be integrity within that leadership and a chemistry, right? Like I for those who know, I do media and I'm also matchmaking. So we are matchmaking the right charities to the right platform, to the right impact, and everybody has a cause that they care about. And we are literally setting the standard for how charitable giving needs to take place, the transparency, the trust, and the ease to which you can buy social impact. Like the idea to purchase social impact is phenomenal. And I think it's what the world needs. There is no better time than now. And with that said, I want to bring on one of our charitable partners, Giovanni Bottazzi. We'll welcome him to the stream. He is the Senior Director of Sales for Plastic Bank. Another important initiative, just so that you know, we created it to satisfy the SDG goals and to help corporations meet their ESG and CSG responsibilities. And so with that, Giovanni, please introduce yourself. Thank you for your service, and let everybody know about Plastic Banks, what you do for our environment, and why you're excited about being part of this.
Thank you, Carmelia, and thank you, Michael, and the whole team. I think it's been a pleasure, I think, from since day one, really to start the conversation. And I really think that what you guys have been doing, the idea of bringing traceability to social impact, is addressing probably the number one concern that most companies and most have comes to contributing to social and environmental causes, which is, can I be sure that the investment making, the contribution I'm making is actually going to make that impact? I think if we bring that traceability, if we bring that transparency and that peace of mind, many more companies, many more people will feel comfortable and confident to contribute. So definitely, I think the direction that you have for your business is, I think, really welcome. Not just on my side, but I can tell, speaking with plenty of companies today, that is really what they're looking for. So well done, and it's an exciting day for you to get started. So I have to tell a little bit about Plastic Bank. I will share my screen with a few slides that visually will give you an idea of what we do. Right? Okay. So, second.
Oh, I already have it up here, Giovanni.
Oh, I think I'm already sharing the screen, but do you prefer to go ahead?
Okay, yeah, sure. One sec.
Okay, so let me.
There you go.
All right, perfect. So starting from our title, the presentation is called Invitation to Social Recycling, because really what we do as Plastic Bank is adding a twist to recycling. So for us, recycling is kind of the basis. It's really about bringing environmental impact. We believe that when we look at sustainability, there are other angles to it, and the most important one is social. So let me share a little bit more about the concept. So starting from the problem that we are trying to address. Initially, we focused on ocean plastic pollution. You might have seen pictures like this. You might have heard numbers here and there. I'd like to focus on a couple of numbers that I think will probably stay with you even after the call. The first is that it's estimated that 12 million tons of plastic will eventually enter the ocean this year. So it's an amount of material that is just so enormous that it can, can hardly be even pictured, I think, visually. And the even worse kind of statistic is that it's estimated that that amount is going to triple by 2040 if nothing happens, if nothing is done. So Plastic Bank was born 10 years ago exactly, with the idea of finding a solution to the ocean plastic pollution problem. And when we started looking at how to address this problem, we figured that there is a clear interconnection between plastic pollution, and more specifically ocean plastic pollution, and poverty. Why? Because obviously countries that have fewer resources do not also have the ability, or have limited ability, to organize waste management in a formal way, and do not have the ability to take care of pollution, and more specifically plastic pollution. So there is a clear correlation between these two problems. So as we try to find a solution to these two problems, to the problem of plastic pollution, we figured that we also had to tackle poverty. And you can see here on the map that the hotspots of ocean plastic pollution, it is very clear that Asia at large is by far the biggest contributor. And then you have Africa and Latin America, while Europe and North America, I would say, are not as affected as the other regions. So the idea for Plastic Bank is really to go one step beyond just recycling, and we figure that if we look at recycling the way we see it in the developed world, obviously that model is not applicable also to countries that have fewer resources. So the idea is really to bring a social twist to it, and more specifically, the idea is to use plastic as a currency to help address both problems that I mentioned earlier, and also at the same time package all of this in a way that it becomes a story that brands can tell their retailers and their consumers. So let me show you how this all comes to life. So there are 4 pillars to our model. And starting from the left-hand side, we see that the first pillar is building what we call ethical collection communities. So the idea is we first of all identify countries that are affected by the 2 problems that I mentioned earlier. And in those countries, we set up collection points. You can imagine small warehouses where local communities can bring plastic waste. What plastic waste? Well, the plastic waste they can collect on the street, on the beach, and anywhere near the coastal areas. So our definition is of the coastline. So that plastic is doomed to enter the sea eventually, if not collected. So we incentivize local communities to collect that material, bring it to us. And at the collection point, they are rewarded for their efforts. So they are paid not only the market value of plastic waste, they're also paid a premium that is initially just a monetary premium. But as they become more and more loyal to us, they also have access to other benefits, including healthcare insurance, including education for themselves and their children, and much more. The plastic is then sorted at the collection point. It is then brought to local recyclers that recycle it, and then we resell the material to companies that will use it for all sorts of applications. So anything from packaging to consumer goods to furniture to apparel, footwear, and more. So the idea is really to help local communities get out of their condition of poverty while helping solve an environmental problem that is very close to their lives on a daily basis. The second pillar is technology. So we also use blockchain, and that was the first, let's say, point of contact. I think we kindly. So from the very beginning, we believed that giving full traceability to our efforts was essential. So we developed this blockchain platform that is fully owned by Plastic Bank that records every transaction. So every time that the collector goes to a collection point, they bring 5 kilos of PET. That material, that transaction is recorded. We know in real time, and our customers know in real time that that amount of plastic was brought to that collection point. It was paid this amount of money, and that transaction is visible. Again, it is collected, and it gives the ultimate proof of what we are doing. And it is a platform that is audit ready. It gives that full visibility on each transaction. The third pillar is social impact. So again, I mentioned the social piece a few times already. So we believe that we would not be able to collect 1 single kilo of plastic if it was not for our collectors that are on the ground, that are helping us collect that material. So we want to reward our collectors. We want to make them more and more part of the community, as opposed to just people who transactionally sell material to us. So we definitely have many initiatives that are meant for them, again, to see more value in their lives and to see a path out of poverty. The last piece are our global brand partnerships. So you can see here an example of a Windex bottle by SC Johnson. There are many more. And the idea is that every product that is made with our material is a product that speaks about sustainability at large, beyond just the environmental piece, but also talks about social and economic sustainability.
Yeah, that's great. One of the interesting things here about Plastic Bank, and it's almost a theme of the last couple of events, is when we work with a lot of our impact partners, we're always looking for partners that can really track their impacts. They have a great infrastructure, great data collection, and Plastic Bank is just one of the best we've seen. They're the most they're the most transparent, and they provide so much data on the back end in regards to the status of their impact and where it's getting impacted.
Thank you for the appreciation, Michael. And I think that's really where we are trying to put our efforts. I mean, I would say that we started again from the idea, okay, we focus on plastic, but then over time we realized that there were 2 additional pieces that were traceability and social impact that were essential for the whole story to come to life. And you can see here on the screen just my second to last slide, where you can see few numbers about what we've achieved. So we're close already to 5 billion bottles collected. So that's approximately 100,000 tons of material collected. Obviously, that's still a drop in the ocean compared to the numbers that we've seen at the beginning. We're by far the largest organization in collecting ocean-bound plastic. And that's thanks to 37,000 collectors globally collect plastic on a daily basis. So you can see that it's a global movement, and we're very keen, to join the Kindly ecosystem, the idea of reaching out to even more partners, even more companies that can join the movement and help support the collection of ocean plastic and also support the communities that are working with us. Is just very, very powerful, and it's very exciting for us. So again, thank you so much, Michael, for for the opportunity, and to the whole team. I know that a lot of people worked on the project with you, and we definitely wish you all success, and look forward to more and more achievements together.
No,
Thanks,
great, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Giovanni. I think, what you're doing, well, I know what you're doing is making a massive impact. And to celebrate again, the reason we're all gathered here today for North America's launch party, the last and final part of the globe that we addressed, we've traveled all around the world. Michael, let's share with everybody the new Kindly platform, the new website, and how people can track their transparent giving, and also the initiatives that are ready to purchase. You can purchase Social Impact today. You can purchase Social Impact right now, and soon you'll be able to also purchase the opportunity to remove plastics and to support the plastic bank. So Michael, take it away.
Yeah, sure. So some of you may or may not notice today we updated the website. It's looking a little bit different than the last 2 weeks from now, or 2 weeks ago. Essentially now you can actually purchase Social Impact directly from our website. So this is our website now, and it addresses a lot of different things. There is a lot of additional information in here. I highly recommend the community go out and check it out. It's kindlyimpact.com. We do illustrate several use cases, from individuals to small, medium-sized businesses and large-scale enterprises. With the website, there are additional aspects. We're going to go to the pricing section here, and you'll see the available social impacts available for purchase. There is a buy button, and there's also a subscription button. You can actually buy one-offs by pressing the green buy button, and you can also purchase subscriptions on a monthly basis. Currently at launch, we're launching with our 3 initial launch partners, which is feeding people in need, planting trees, and feeding rescued animals. The first one is done by Food for Life Global, which was one of our largest food relief charity programs in the world. They process, I believe, over 1 million meals daily in 60+ countries. The second one, Planting Trees, is being done by Eden Reforestation. We're going to play a video from the representative later in this event. And then the third one is Feeding Rescued Animals, which is provided by Juliana's Animal Sanctuary. We just had an event with the South American event, where they were on and telling us a little bit more about their organization. When you scroll down, you'll see there are 2 additional impacts that are going to be added to our platform very soon. One is providing books to Africa. That organization is Books for Africa. They were on our EMA event. And then the other one is Preventing Ocean-Bound Plastics by Plastic Bank, who's going to be assisting us with helping provide and execute that initiative. So we will be onboarding those 2 impact partners within the coming weeks, so please stay tuned. There's also one here you notice in the green. This is sort of a Kindly all-in-one impact. This will enable people to purchase all the impacts that are offered on our website, and adjust the variations in the weightings of that impact as well. So yeah, this is a great first step. We're really excited about the launch and the Kindly platform, and there are a lot of different core elements that make up that platform, which we'll take you through on the website. The first core product is essentially what we call the Kindly Social Impact Engine. So this is like the brains behind our platform. It does all the tracking, the processing, and the execution of all these social impacts, but it does it on the blockchain. And some of you may or may not be familiar with it, but the blockchain brings a lot of different valuable advantages. And one of those is it's publicly accessible, and it's immutable. So any data that's recorded, any information that's recorded on the blockchain, it's not, it cannot be modified or hacked or changed. So people know that the information and the information for their transactions that they're seeing is the real information, and it hasn't been maliciously adjusted for scams or whatever it may be. So the blockchain brings a lot of different varying positive advantages, including safety. Blockchains are very immune to hacking because it's a very distributed network. So there's a lot of different advantages that comes to running the brains on a Web3 based technology. The second part of the product that is attached to our platform is our Kindly Search. So if you scroll to the top and there's a button that's called Search Impact, when you click there, it takes you to the Kindly Search product, and the domain is search.kindlyimpact.com. So here's where you would go to actually browse through all the social impact that's generated within the Kindly ecosystem. You can search by your account name, the impact that the organization that's processing your impact, or even your transaction ID. So when we scroll down here, there's a lot of transactions that were processed by the Kindly development team. They can attest to that. We've done extensive testing, both on our testnet and on the live platform. So all of these are real transactions, real money being sent to social impact partners. So when you look at these transactions, so if we click on the first one here, basically it's going to load up the information and the status of that social impact. Now this is great because Kindly is really focused on providing maximum transparency to customers and businesses. Users want to know, what's really happening with the purchases that we're doing. And essentially, when you go to Kindly Search and you look, you can actually follow the social impact journey. And basically, we track the flow of funds on the blockchain, so you can publicly see where the money is going through these transactions. And you could also see, what the state of the transaction is. So like, for example, this one here, you see that the money was sent from the customer and it was received by the Kindly ecosystem, and the order is in the process of getting accepted by Food for Life Global, who is one of our food eating platforms, our feeding people in need platforms, our impact partners. And when you scroll down, you can actually see here the UN sustainability goals. So every transaction that happens within the Kindly ecosystem, you can see what areas it affects in humanity. So the UN produced these 17 sustainable development goals. And each impact, even though they perform a single action, there's multiple effects that it can affect within the community. So for example, if you're planting a tree, you're not just planting a tree, you're supporting the local economy by paying local people to plant the tree, maintain and manage the tree. So it actually affects multiple different aspects of society. So when we choose our impact partners and we work with them, they don't just do one thing, they affect multiple aspects of local communities and social and environmental initiatives, like Plastic Bank mentioned earlier. So this is sort of the main point, the main purpose of our platforms is to bring that transparency to the forefront. And then another thing you'll notice with the platform is it supports micro giving. So when you look at all these transactions, we can process micro transactions and make those into full scale social impacts. So when we go back to the platform, you can basically use it with payment processors, you can use it with blockchain networks, any type of organization that has massive transaction volumes, fractional transactions, any of those things, because we can basically allocate and pool those amounts and have it all tracked on the blockchain and easily accounted for. And once they've reached full quantity units, we can then use them to purchase social impact. So that's one of the interesting things about our platform is the ability to perform these microtransactions. So, this opens up a lot of possibilities for integrating and working with partners.
Yeah, I wanted to step in and just mention that on the enterprise level, that when you see we have the ability and technology, and we encourage enterprise and corporations to consider putting actually integrating impact into their products, like actually integrating the CSR and ESG requirements that people are looking at. There's a lot of companies, a lot of brands, a lot of influencers that before they work with a company, represent a product or deal with a brand, that one of their primary questions is this a company that is following CSR and ESG regulations? what are they doing to the environment, for the environment? How are they treating, their employees? How are they, considering their impact to, the people, the animals, whatever that is. And more people are making these kinds of conscious buying decisions based on the actions that a company is taking, based on the actions that an individual is taking. And so this is why our partners, if you look at our partners, they have a track record and history of operating with integrity. Food for Life Global is a primary example of a company that operates with efficiency, immediacy, and transparency. And this is what we're looking for in future impact partners, which is why, you see the size of the impact and the scale and the operation that goes behind Plastic Banks that you just shared with us, Giovanni. So that's what we're encouraging people to do. And if you own a product, a service business, whatever it is, we can come up with creative ways that you can integrate social impact and make that a seamless purchase. There's a lot of ways. If you're in gaming, you can do gaming for good, right? Gaming for giving. If you're shopping, now you can shop for sanctuary. It feels good to give, and it feels even better when you can track that impact. And it's something to brag about. Companies that are doing good, this is something media wants to get a hold of. This is something that people want to talk about. There's enough tragedy and death and hunger and pain that's around. It's so refreshing to be able to spread this opportunity to people and to make it so easy for people to do their share in giving. When it's 50 cents to feed a child and $1 to plant a tree for the future of your family and your legacy, I'm just so proud and excited that we are in this moment creating the standard for giving and creating the process for other people to follow.
Yeah, exactly. And one other thing that you mentioned, you brought this up, and that had to do with applications for enterprise. When you look at, I'm going to bring up a slide here from the website. Everyone can see it's available online right here. So we brought this up on the previous events that we had today. This is a perfect example of how integrations can occur. Like literally, you can have a retailer. It could be a apparel shop, right? And you go there and you buy a pair of shoes or a jacket. And then you get your receipt. And then all of a sudden on the receipt, you're going to see a QR code and some text that says, congratulations, you fed 4 people, right? And the ability that our system has is to enable these companies to be socially responsible. That company can choose to give back. They can allocate a percentage of their revenues to doing good, and then pass that on to their customers as added value for their business. So when a customer goes to buy shoes, they might be like, I prefer to go here because I know by just buying shoes, I'm going to do good versus going to another store and they're not doing anything for you. So these things are things corporations and businesses should start taking a look at, because this is added value feature sets that they can offer to their customers. And when you look at this receipt, all a user has to do is scan the QR code, and then it takes them to the Kindly search page where they can actually see the status of that impact and follow along and watch it get fulfilled. So these are all possible with the Kindly ecosystem and what we're building. So like you said, it could work great for games and blockchain networks and all those other things.
Yeah, I think there's so many applications. I want to give a shout out to some of our live viewers. I don't know if I'm saying your name correctly, but Mihai, thank you for your excitement and comments. Ryan, love to see crypto doing some good in the world. Absolutely. We share the same sentiment. And Michael, as a leader in data management and whatever you're doing, like share your thoughts on what's happening right now in this space.
Yeah, I'd love to, because we don't talk about doing good, right? We talk about social impact around the world. And this has happened for decades, if not generations. What's the game changer here? What's the actual game changer that flips the script and actually bringing value back to people, right? And I think I think just for the viewers, and a lot of people hear buzzwords like blockchain, Web3, decentralization, all that good stuff. Like, what is it actually doing? So like, why does Kindly exist? Where do we bring something that's net new to the world? And I think I'll just pause there for a second, because here's a stat, for example. For charitable organizations around the world, approximately 67% of that value that a person puts in gets to the end user or to the end charity. So 33% is that pretty much taken out of the system. It's been extracted by the platform, extracted by administration, extracted by the movement of that dollar, because it's fiat. And so very little of that actually gets put to good use. Imagine 33% being taken out as tax. On top of that, that dollar that's being sent to that person across the world is being sent in a local currency, and it's hyperinflation. It's 100% year over year. So that's another 50% tax. By the time it actually gets down to the person who is planting that tree, to feeding the dog, or providing a meal in their house, very little of that is actually being equated to. Here's a chance for us to actually bring innovation to actually change the system. Governments haven't done it. Institutions haven't done it. Facebook hasn't done it. They have just extracted more value, saying they're going to do good things. But in fact, it's just a tax write-off. So I think that this is a time where, Kindly, who is actually pushing innovation, seeing, okay, well, this is a thing called blockchain, but blockchain actually does something here for people. And so I think that's what I really want to stress and leave the viewers with, because it's a nuanced term. It's something that is unfamiliar to people. But if you just think about it very, very simply, it's direct transfer of value across the world, regardless of your geo, regardless of your jurisdiction, regardless of your government. It's a direct transfer of value to that person's pocket and to the livelihood of what they have. And then to another stats on top of that, in Philippines, the average income is $300. In Nigeria, it's $700. So a dollar goes a long way. What we're doing with the value with Cirrus is bringing data, which is all your data that's being put online, sold by these big tech platforms. And we're just saying, here, one click, you can actually donate that to social impact around the world. The average income that people make on data could actually feed a household for a single day in these places. So I think just want to make it relatable to people, like real world use cases, why Kindly is different in the social impact category with the use of Web3 and technology versus its predecessors. And I think that's the innovation change that we're seeing right now. And it's collaborative. It's with everybody around the world trying to make this happen. So yeah, thank you for that. But really just want to leave the viewers with something that you can understand. So it's a game changer to this new generation.
Yeah, following on your commentary on the innovation, oftentimes when a corporation is thinking about converting their processes to meet more of the SDG goals, that sometimes takes years, millions of dollars, thousands of hours to come up with that stuff. But this is an accelerator. This is an SDG accelerator for you guys to purchase the social impact that you are thinking about creating. In the absence of creating it, it takes time sometimes for companies to get on board, but there is no time to you have nothing to lose, and it's immediate to you to be able to do your share. If you are a company that is struggling with SDG, that is struggling with CSG, like, how do we do this? How do we solve it? This is the solution. And this is the leadership team, one of the global parts of the leadership team that are steering the direction for giving and being very transparent about it, and working with companies that want to be inclusive and participate in that. So that was just something that came to mind. This is literally an accelerator for any company or corporation that wants to do their part. You can literally purchase any of the impacts, and we are going to have more on the shelf for you to have. So I'm not sure if Giovanni's still with us. I know that he had a short window.
Yeah.
Yes? Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm still here.
Would you like to share anything else before you go? And you're welcome to stay, but we want to honor your time.
No, it's I'm glad to stay, and I'm glad to see also the rest of the session. I can just maybe share an anecdote that I think is interesting to bring a little bit more perspective to what we are doing together. So a couple of weeks ago, I was in Egypt visiting our ecosystem there. So Plastic Bank has a quite extensive operations in Egypt, because it is one of the countries with the more plastic pollution that actually enters the Mediterranean, so all of the European kind of area. And we visited one part of Cairo, which is unfortunately nicknamed Garbage City. So it is a part of the city where thousands and thousands of tons of waste from all over the city are brought to be collected, sorted, and recycled. Why does this happen? It happens because in Cairo, like in the rest of Egypt, essentially formal management is non-existent. So if you live in Cairo, every day you produce your waste, you don't know where to put it. Okay, you just don't know where to put it. What you do is you leave it outside your door, and somebody, more precisely collectors, will come and pick up this waste and bring it to Garbage City. So you have this huge neighborhood which survives and actually kind of thrives in a sense out of collecting and sorting, then selling to recyclers waste. You can imagine that the conditions of life and living standards are extremely poor and low, right? I actually saw something that I think I will hardly forget in the rest of my life, to be honest. I saw this little kid, probably a 5-year-old kid, who was playing with his toy. His toy was not a gadget. It was not maybe a toy car or something. It was actually a dead rat. So you can imagine he was actually playing, holding the rat by the tail. And his parents were in the background, just carefree, honestly, not really bothered by what they were seeing. And this type of situations are really what it's important for all of us to do our part to contribute to causes that try to address issues like this. And, I was actually very, very relieved not long after I saw this to meet one of the other community members. It is the daughter of a collector. And this collector has been one of our most loyal through the years. We've supported both the collector and his family. And his daughter actually is now fully fluent in English. She studied English and she's fully fluent now. And she's studying science in Cairo University. So really for us, the ability to see that there is that transition. You can imagine her father was living literally in garbage, collecting garbage on a daily basis. His daughter is studying in university. So that type of change, that type of transition is, I think, what we are all trying to empower. And I think it's so powerful when we have so many different companies, organizations like we have today that try to come together and make even more impact around the world. So really, really excited again. It took time, but I just wanted to bring a bit of perspective. I think when we talk, sometimes it feels distant, it feels like far away. But we are doing is really concrete. It really is very tangible. And if any of you actually feels like visiting our ecosystem in any of the countries we open, we'd love to have you visit as well. So please do reach out in case. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Giovanni. Oh, Carmelia, I think you're muted there.
Yeah, I mean, happy to open the floor to anybody here on the team that wants to say any final words, any celebratory notes, or I wish we were popping champagne and popping bottles over here.
Oh, well, we actually have
glass bottles.
Well, we actually have a few things. We still have Eden Reforestation, and we also need to go into actually Cirrus Foundation and talking a little bit about their recent product launch, which is pretty amazing. Okay. So I was actually going to ask Michael to come on and tell us a little bit more. I know he prepared a presentation for us, which I have here. I'm going to screen share for you guys. Give me one
I'll pass it to Julie. I think she did a presentation. We could show directly how the product that we use and how it facilitates data transfer, but data transfer directly into the product of Kindly. So we'll take it away, Julie.
Yeah, perfect. Super excited to show you guys this. And I think the theme of today is really impact and how we're creating that. And I think the conversation too around blockchain and the fact that it really does have a way to redistribute value now, that's really our focus. We briefly touched upon, how our mission is to put people back in control of their digital assets. And really the two biggest problems that we want to solve for is one, putting people back in control of their data and plugging them into actually capturing that value now, instead of Meta or Google or whoever else is kind of in the big tech space capturing that value. And then also a really big vision for us, and something that we talked a lot about, is bringing impact to emerging markets. The reality is people are living in very different conditions. And I mean, even Giovanni, your example was very eye-opening, and it made me feel very emotional, because I think that the truth is there's still so many people that are unbanked, and that's a big issue. So there are still 1.7 billion people unbanked today that don't have access to, watch Netflix or listen to Spotify or even shop online. And so we have really an ability now with Web3 to redistribute that value into the hands of many rather than a few. And so it's really exciting to leverage this technology, and even with Kindly, show that use case to people that may still be questioning if Web3 is here to stay and if blockchain has impact. I think the impact is so clear and so direct. And so kind of to go into how Cirrus works into the next slide a little bit, something that we also talked about today is making it really simple for people to join this space and on-ramp into Web3. And so for us, it was really important to open up access to Web3 and the benefits of Web3 with Cirrus to anyone that simply has an internet connection. So we want to get rid of the barriers that traditional systems have in place for people to join the movement and really capture their value. So all you really have to do as a user, regardless of where you are in the world, is download our Cirrus Chrome extension. And as soon as you download it, you're actually able to already start capturing value for your data and your digital footprint. And essentially what you're able to do now is really simply turn your data into digital currency, capture that value, store it within our wallet, which is one functionality of the platform. So you can either store it, you can swap it, you can, swap it into a different asset, perhaps Bitcoin or Ethereum. You can send it to a friend overseas with very minimal cross-border, fees, unlike the banking system. And more importantly, and this is really where Kindly comes in as well as a partner for us, is you can have the opportunity to reinvest it and transfer that value over in many different ways with the power of our Web3 labs. And if we go into the next slide, we'll kind of see a little bit of a replay as to how it works. So as you can see, this is our platform. You log in, it shows your earnings, your Cirrus score, it tracks your digital footprint. So it grows as you evolve in the system. And then as you enter into the Web3 labs, this is really an opportunity for us to feature different applications and services, whether they are banking services or data for good. This is actually our initiative with Kindly, where now as a user, you're able to surf and earn, capture that value of your data, and then power applications like data for good and make that social impact with the power of your data. So you can actually invest into social impact with the power of your data earnings and then track that impact with the Kindly ecosystem, again, in such a seamless and open source way, because Web3 enables that secure movement of value where it is transparent, it is verifiable, and more important, it's also inclusive for people regardless of where they are in the world, regardless of their financial status, regardless of their gender. So for us, it was really a no-brainer to partner with Kindly, and we're excited to bring in other partners and other applications into our ecosystem as well that really give people a seamless way to, now that I have this value, what can I do with it to either A, generate more value, or give that value in a very great way to other use cases or other causes. So really excited. Yeah.
No, yeah, and I really want to stress with the community, Cirrus Foundation, they're doing some very, very positive things for the world, because data is, like Michael mentioned, data is one of the most important things to every person, because in this technological age, everyone's using their phone, everyone's using computers, browsing the internet, etc. And Cirrus is essentially allowing people to monetize their use of the internet, right? While other organizations may be taking your data and selling it without your knowledge or your approval and making money on your ability to, access the internet, Cirrus is sort of putting that power back into the hands of its users. It's all about empowerment, right? And being able to generate value from the things that you normally do. So there's a lot of synergies to how they structure their product and how we focus on enabling social impact, because we want you to do the normal things you normally do, but we also want to generate that social impact by performing a similar action. And what Cirrus Foundation is doing could help so many people in poor countries that don't have a lot of money, and bring some of that value back to them. And at the same time, in other situations across the world, you can take that value and give it to people in need via what you saw on this user interface. So I think that what they're doing is very amical to society in general, and empowerment is one of the strongest tools of Web3. It's like with Web3, you have decentralization, you have empowerment, being able to take back that power, and it's great to have them as a partner.
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate that.
All right. So, is there anything else that you guys wanted to mention before we move on to our final impact partner?
Mike, is there anything else on your end that you wanted to add?
No, I think that's really well said. It's a seamless entry to providing social impact around the world with 2 clicks. Redistribute the value and direct value across the world. It's simple. The technology's here. I think everybody should really take a look and embrace it.
All right. So while I load up the video here for Eden Reforestation, essentially we have another impact partner. Unfortunately, they couldn't make it last minute, so we have a video on the organization to help educate the community on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up the video. It might take a couple of seconds to kick in.
There's a difference between planting a tree and growing a tree. There's a lot of stories out there about groups that'll claim we planted 100 million trees in one day. No, they planted 100 million seedlings or 100 million seeds. And then you go back and you find out that the survival rate was next to nothing. When donors partner with Eden, they don't want just to see us plant a seedling or a seed. They want to see us grow a tree. And the whole point of this video is to show you how we start with planting and we end up with growing a tree that joins together with so many other trees that turns into a healthy forest. A warning, I'm about to geek out on something that I find fascinating, and that is how different tree systems grow. Beginning with mangroves. Mangroves are a fascinating tree species because their seeds, their babies, actually are kind of pencil-like or pen-like. They actually grow on the end of the branch, and you go at the right time when they're starting to produce their first leaf. You pick them, and that is a ripe propagule. The process of getting 20 million or more propagules into the ground every single month is enormous, starting with managing thousands upon thousands of community workers to go out and clear the land that is covered in debris, and then going out and picking all of these propagules, millions and millions of them, every single month, sorting them by species, because each species has to go in their specific zone. Some go in the really deep water areas when the tide comes in. they can be covered with water and they won't drown. Others, Bulgaria, for instance, has to be placed up higher in the tidal zone so it's never covered, it never gets drowned. And you do this all in the right zones, you do this all in the right tidal times, all of these thousands of people to go into this estuary and get this job done. It's a big task. Eden does so much more than mangroves. We also do very large-scale dry deciduous work. And then lowland tropical, lowland dry tropical, highland tropical. In Indonesia, true humid tropical rainforest. So we're working all over the world, including Central America, where you have conifers and lowland tropical and highland tropical. And in Kenya, we do mangroves and Rift Valley acacia species. So we've been working in the Rift Valley with Maasai people. They've done incredible work. They have very large-scale nurseries. And they have been using nursery production and singling and seed balls. Seed balls are really simple. You're basically taking a golf ball size glob of compost and soil, a little bit of clay, and very specific species that grow quickly, germinate consistently, and absolutely belong in that ecosystem. And you form that little ball. As soon as the rainy season starts, you just poke a hole in the ground, put that little seed ball in the ground, and voila, it starts to grow. And it needs about 2.5, 3 months of good, consistent rain. And once the seed ball is planted, you end up with a seedling that has a well-established root system that's able to survive the dry season. And then throughout the process, the villagers, the communities are guarding the trees and guarding these massive sites, making sure that no one walks through and knocks them over, cattle don't walk through and knock them over or eat them, making sure that the illegal loggers don't come through. And it's quite the ordeal. So in Kenya, we've only been there for about 1.5 years. So we have yet to see a mature forest, anything close to a mature forest. They're still small trees. But if you compare that work to, say, Madagascar or Nepal, which are similar ecosystems, we know that by about year 4, year 5, year 6, you're going to see a proliferation of canopy species, trees that are 9, 12, 15, 20 feet tall. And then natural regeneration kicks in, and that's our real ally. We're basically just working well with nature, giving it that boost, that head start to establish the canopy that provides the shade and provides the leaf litter with the nutrients and the moisture retention and the erosion control. And there's birds, and you see lemurs bouncing around and stuff, all kinds of life. Seeing nature reboot is amazing. We know you don't want us to just plant trees. That's a good starting point, but that's not the goal. You want to partner with us to grow trees, to grow a forest, and that's what we're committed to doing with you.
Oh, you're muted.
Well, sorry, thanks a lot. So that was Eden Reforestation, and basically I would like to thank Sarah Castro from from Eden that unfortunately she couldn't make it today, but we have this video to educate the community on the impact. So we want to thank everyone for coming to this event. This was the last one. It was a long day, but an exciting day. And we were able to take you all across the world to meet all our impact partners from the regions where they come from. And, you know, we're loving the support and everything that we're seeing from our community. And we'd like to thank you again. I'd like to thank Sirius Foundation, Julia. Thank you for coming and attending. And also Plastic Bank for coming as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. Really, it's been a pleasure. And the website is also killer. So you guys did a great job, and just the whole come together of everything. So really excited. Thank you for having us today.
Awesome. All right, guys. I'm gonna call it quits. And remember, it's cool to be kind.
Love it. Bye,
Thanks.
guys.
Bye.